Welcome to episode 18 of the Chi-Town Shoot Wrestling Podcast. I'm Marcin, and joining me in the squared circle are Chris, David, and Andres. We're coming at you from the heart of the wrestling world, Chicago, Illinois, bringing you the latest news, hottest takes, and all things WWE and AEW. Don't forget, we want to hear from you. Send us your thoughts, your questions, wildest predictions to chitownshootpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll tackle your comments in the Chi-Town Shoot mailbag. Without further ado, let's get into it. We've had like a series of events that happened since our last episode that focused on managers. We had All Out, or All In, sorry, not All Out.
It's coming out next week.
Yeah, In then Out. I keep forgetting. All In Wembley again, and then also Bash in Berlin that just happened the other day.
Yeah,
both
Renee
international.
She getting that shit wrong too. I think she said All Out first at the.
She did. I saw the scrum or the.
Which one is it?
I think they were just enjoying themselves with a little cocktails after the fact.
NXT's tonight.
Yeah, and then NXT has their PLE happening on Sunday, which is when we're currently recording. But yeah, very, very busy. What did you guys think of? Let's just quickly touch on those. What did you guys think of All Out as a pay-per-view, or All In? All In. That's a branding failure. I'm sorry.
Here's how you distinguish it though. The initial like pay-per-view event was called All In, and it's based on that.
Yeah,
right.
Show.
But then why would you have a follow-up called All Out?
Because they didn't have the rights to All In when they formed AEW. All In was a Ring of Honor thing that Tony Khan purchased.
And then they created, so they had All Out for a little bit before they acquired All In?
Right. They had one or two All Outs before All In.
And then they kept both of them after they got it.
Of course.
Yeah.
I did not know
So
that.
I don't know. I understand it to a certain degree, but
No yeet.
I don't know. It's like, having SummerSlam and then a month later you have Summerfest. I just feel like branding wise it's a little weird, but why not?
But you're using the framework of it.
But I just mean I'm using the framework of just like reading like a show, and why does it sound similar to this one over that one? Like just in general, like a general perception. You know what I mean? But that's just like my personal gripe with it. But what did you guys think of All In? How did you feel that match card went?
It was one of the better AEWs.
Yeah, I'd say so in a while. They tend to be pretty good, I would say.
AEW pay-per-views are always, for the most part, I mean, like 90% of the time, really good shows. The weekly ones, there's some stuff left to be desired, but I mean, you definitely get your money's worth when you go to an AEW pay-per-view because they stack it to the high heavens, and a lot of those matches are really well done. And I will say I was a little surprised that Bryan Danielson won. I thought that might have been his retirement match at All In. But he won the championship. He won the championship off Swerve Strickland, who got it at Dynasty back in April. So he was champ for about 4 months or so before he dropped the belt to Bryan Danielson. But I mean, it was awesome. Like it for me, since when I saw him win at WrestleMania 30, it kind of brought me back to that moment when at the time Daniel Bryan basically went through a gauntlet at WrestleMania 30 to win the championship, and that was his B+ player. Basically kind of like he had a whole movement and felt like a political movement at the time where it was people were shoving Roman Reigns, or I feel like Roman Reigns was in that era where they were like, no, thank you. We want Bryan Danielson.
And thirdly, it was Batista.
Batista was there too. Yeah, they were kind of in that whole, like the people that they were basically wanting to elevate or push during that era. It's not the people that the fans wanted. They wanted Daniel Bryan at the time, and they got it. And then at AEW, All In, Bryan Danielson finally got his first AEW championship, and I gotta say, it looks good on him. Looks good on him. Um, he he won the championship, and then we knew beforehand, right, that he had neck issues, and he acknowledged that he had neck issues before the championship match at an interview, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he won the title, and he cut a promo on the following show on Dynamite, basically saying that he needs neck surgery sooner than later. It was very conflicting because, like, so basically, like, his neck is messed up and he needs surgery sooner than later, but he's going to be the best AEW champion I mean, basically that he can be. Um, and yeah, it just feels like the clock is really ticking about, when he's going to drop the belt, and it sounds like it's sooner or later. And his first challenger is Jack Perry, which is interesting because he also just won a title belt, but I guess they're going to put that guy in to face him. So how do you guys feel about Bryan Danielson's future and this upcoming matchup, and where do you think he's going to drop the belt?
Wants to go? I'll go.
I'll go first.
I mean, I think he's gonna at least have it for the year.
You think
If
so? A
not-
whole year?
I think,
World's End.
or at least to World's End, because World's End would be poetic as far as just.
Mhm.
But we'll see. I don't know, but I think at least to World's End.
How do you feel about Jack Perry being his first challenger?
I think it makes sense because it allows them to kind of build up Jack Perry himself, kind of be more closer to that main event kind of thing. I think.
Why do you feel like they gave him a different title belt then? At that point, why can't he feud with somebody for that title belt?
Talking about the
He
TNT?
just beat the number one contender.
Yeah, because he's the number one contender.
Darby Allin's number one contender, and he just beat him.
Oh, got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, other thoughts about like the upcoming championship, and when do you think Bryan Danielson's gonna actually drop the belt? Andres, you were having some thoughts.
Yeah, like you, I was thinking it was actually gonna be his last match. Like I thought for sure that was the setup, but now that he won, yeah, I don't think he's gonna wear it for too long. Jack Perry coming up as his opponent though. I think it's a good setup though too. Hey, I don't think he'll win, but yeah, I think Bryan will hold it for a little while.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know when he's gonna drop the belt. I do also think it's gonna be sooner than later. World's End makes sense. Maybe they can make AEW Revolution the retirement pay-per-view and just have another retirement match at Revolution, which is I think like March, right? Early March.
2025 is going to be his final tour.
Yeah,
and Cena,
like the John Cena tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What about you? What do you think, David? What do you think about the length of his title reign? How long is that going to be in his first match in defense against Perry?
I like the match against Perry. I think it's good to do it in Chicago. We seen him have a decent pop at Windy City Riot.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of shows like the crowd isn't like completely anti Jack Perry.
Yeah.
So
he gets a reaction.
Yeah,
He definitely does.
and he's improved a lot. He's improved a lot in his time with New Japan and being with House of Torture. It definitely gave him an element of a character he didn't have before.
Yep.
And then if it doesn't happen at World's End, I'm sure it'll happen at the pay-per-view that they're doing with New Japan to go with, was it Wrestle Kingdom?
Mm-hmm. So there was a recent report, and it's by Dave Meltzer. So I know there's a lot of people who have opinions about Dave Meltzer, but there have been conversations about Darby Allin being the one to dethrone Danielson, and they threw out potentially Grand Slam or Wrestle Dream. This is what Meltzer says. I think the idea is that if Allen wins the title from, I was going to say All In. If Allen wins the title from Danielson, which has been at least strongly talked about, whether in New York or Tacoma, Allen, Strickland, Danielson are all from Washington. The somewhat clean loss does allow for Perry to be in line for a title shot. So, I mean, Darby Allin as the AEW World Champion. Do you see it? Can you see it?
It works. He shows up for stuff already.
Do you feel like that's the right person to like have drop the belt to, I guess? Or who would you want it to be if you had to pick as like a basically retiring Bryan Danielson again?
It'd have to be Kenny Omega or Swerve for me.
I'd say Kenny Omega.
I would say Kenny too, but I would feel like he's not. In a way, no, because like you would want to give it to someone who's more of the younger generation. Where Kenny's already been so well established and he's won everything, you know. But I mean, if it was like if it was the retirement match, and it was like a big pay per view, like in Japan where both of them have wrestled, then yeah, that would be like pretty iconic, I would say. But I just feel like if let's just say it wasn't retirement and Daniel Bryan's just going to drop the belt, I'd say just one of the younger guys like Perry or Darby Allin.
And why
CM
Kenny? Why
Punk.
are you guys throwing out Kenny Omega as the final challenger?
For retirement, I think it would work. But
Their only
not
match
if
is a
it's
draw.
a title. Then
What did you
Yeah, I
say,
mean-
David?
The only match is a draw.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense. That'd be interesting. Chris?
Yeah, no, I would say that it would just be a generally good match. They'd probably put together a pretty good match. That, or it might be Will Ospreay. That's a big possibility too.
that's a good one.
He's
Yeah.
the young guy, right? Potentially, or an MJF, I guess, or something.
That's true.
Yeah.
Swerve.
Swerve Strickland. I mean,
Run back.
he could retain it. He could get it back.
Yeah. I just feel like Swerve puts on like better main event matches than say like Darby or even Will Ospreay. Like just his pacing. He's got like one thing I've realized a lot about Swerve, especially as a champion, is that like his pacing is like out of this world.
Yeah.
Like
You think it's that NXT training?
it's definitely like storytelling from a very, very old company that's massively produced for a long time.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like it's almost kind of like he's found a good blend of being like Will Ospreay, but also being like Randy Orton.
Yeah. That's very true.
I agree because he hasn't had the belt for terribly too long, but I do think he's grown in that time pretty well as a champion. So I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I'm trying.
Sorry.
No, you
Sounds like
go ahead.
I was just gonna say
kinda
the
see Damien
selling or Swerve's selling specifically was kind of like it blew me away as far as just like how he would sell, how you again like the pacing of the match, like and every time he would just land any kind of move, it would just look so fucking clean. Or if he was taking a move or something like that, it was just really, really very impressed by Swerve.
I mean, it takes a certain amount of talent to like really suspend your disbelief in terms of like looking like you're injured, where I'm like really worried that maybe they actually like mess something up, or you're just really good at selling. And I think Swerve Strickland is one of those people that are very talented at, making me worried if like it looks like they messed up a move, but actually they're totally fine. And not everyone can do that. It's not that easy to sell a move or sell it well. And I don't know if that's WWE brain thinking, but I do appreciate it because like when you win that title match or whatever it is, that match, that feud, it just makes that win much sweeter when you can see the struggle and like the struggle between the two people in that match and the way you're able to convey that through your face, the pacing, the way like if you sell a body slam, are you like getting up after like 2 seconds and you do like a backflip, or you're dragging yourself up on the ropes because you took like your third or fourth body slam. So I do think Swerve Strickland is a good choice if it was for Bryan Danielson's last match. Jack Perry, I'm not like I'm almost half worried that like Bryan Danielson's neck injury is actually more serious than he's really letting on, and it might literally just be like one pay-per-view and he's just dropping the belt. But
Real
may
players.
Or it's the complete opposite, where it's like not necessarily that bad, and he's just making you think that. It's probably more
That's
probably
true.
that.
He
'Cause
loves
the
to
way
lie.
the way he cut that promo on Dynamite, I mean, he just made it sound like for everybody to worry about him essentially. So he's like, but I'm still not gonna retire, even though if I fuck my shit up. So I mean, it's working its magic already with that comment.
Yeah,
It could be the case, yeah. Because I mean, how do you say I need neck surgery, but I'm the champion? Like.
that's
So
true.
maybe it could be a little bit of swerve
It
too.
doesn't help that certain members of his family can't sell.
God damn it, that was my
And
biggest fucking gripe, dude.
and it was like
I
oh,
swear.
Brian's not really hurt, and like that was the impression I got from Remode.
Oh yeah,
It was
she
just like
looked
she
like
was
she was
selling
smiling.
she wasn't worried, and it was just like your husband fucking flops around like magic carp every
Yeah,
match after he hits his neck, and you're just like, oh, okay.
yeah, you gotta know when the camera's on you when you're worried, especially during the match. You might as well just be locked in the whole time,
At least
instead
Bernie
of
started crying.
feeling like you're at Cirque du Soleil or
Like,
something,
oh,
and
back at work. Oh,
you're just
like,
having a good time. Yeah, I mean, like you gotta sell it. Like it's your husband who's getting the crap beat out of him, bleeding and all that kind of stuff, and you can't be looking like you're enjoying yourself.
it's just like,
Yeah. So yeah,
Hey, that's
that
her
was one
dad's
thing
fake
that
fighting over there.
that's what really stuck out. Like that kind of like took me out of the match because they did like show her face, and I'm like, that doesn't match the vibe of like what's happening in the ring.
yeah.
And I mean, she's got to know that like she's wrestled in WWE before, so I don't know why she'd forget to
Because she didn't do
to
it there. Sorry.
I mean, that's not.
Sorry, Bree
You're
Danielson.
not totally wrong about that. I still cringe at the. I wish you died in your mother's
God.
womb or something like that. Like when she was having the feud between her and her sister.
She didn't
I
say,
wish
oh
you
God,
died
that
in
was
the
so bad.
womb.
That was so bad.
Delivery.
It was
He
like
didn't,
fit
he
for
didn't sell it like
Siamese.
Mankind's wife. You guys remember Beyond the Mat, that movie that came out in the 90s? They were like following the WWF crew and stuff, and they were filming behind the scenes. And there was that I forgot what it was, an I Quit match between The Rock and Mankind, and like Mankind's wife was actually like in the crowd watching, and that's when he like hit him over the head with a steel chair like 30 times.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, she was
No.
like freaking out. She was legit like
No.
crying and screaming and stuff. She had the kids there and stuff. I felt bad.
Yeah, no. That match in Foley's biography mentions it kind of slowed down his marriage for a little while.
For real.
Yeah, like didn't go over well at the house.
Oh. Well, yeah, because he had like 20 or something stitches in his head and stuff, and he was fucked up.
Yeah, fucking brain turned into scrambled egg.
Yeah, he did, legit. He, as The Rock said it, he said he baseball swung that shit as hard as he could, too. And Mankind basically
crazy.
said it was fine. I was like, that's crazy.
And The Rock's like, yeah, I regret doing all of that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like getting hit. Like we were at our friend Dan's house, and we were. This was like in fourth grade, and I remember like hitting my head on like the wall, and I felt like I was seeing like stars for a little bit. Let alone like you're getting like smacked in the head with a chair. over and over again, even if it was like aluminum, like it doesn't matter. Like you're just getting like bashed in the head constantly. I don't know how they can just be like, yeah, I'm good, you know.
I've been
Yeah.
concussed. That shit is not fun.
No. I don't know how they
Having
do that.
concussion is not fun, bro. Like,
Does WWE even do headshots anymore with the chairs? I know they do
Mm,
body shots, but I can't remember the
mm-mm.
last time I saw like a direct, like right to the head, like right in the dome.
Not after Benoit. I don't think they've allowed any sort of
Oh,
like head related
Real
it's
injury.
been
glamorous.
At
that
least
long.
at least not on purpose. At least not on
Okay.
purpose.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Miz during WrestleMania 27, like he smacked his head off. His head bounced off the cement, and he does not remember that match at all. Even though he retained the championship against John Cena, which I thought was funny. But yeah, that isn't fun. But yeah, again, like this for me, I hope that you're right about when it comes to Bryan Danielson. I keep trying to say Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson and his like neck, because his neck is a real thing that has been an issue. He's had real injuries to it. And I also do think that he's that type of person where he is super stubborn about his injury, even though he knows if something happens to his neck, that, you know, like I was surprised that he came out of retirement. I mean, same thing with Edge, but like I don't know how they're still wrestling after all that trauma to their neck. I have no
well,
idea.
allegedly, both of them were like, "Hey, AEW's cleared me, so you guys better let me wrestle."
Right. I mean, WWE let Edge wrestle, so
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
don't think
but
they'd like have him, you know, go
WWE
into it.
let Edge come back because he had been cleared and he was gonna go to AEW.
You
He
think
was
it
gonna,
was
he
more
was gonna
like
go to
a
AEW before came back.
oh, yeah. I think you're right.
well, Daniel
Before
Bryan.
the Royal Rumble.
Well, Daniel Bryan in WWE, didn't
That's
he win the
why.
title again?
That's how he got the Rumble ticket, was because he was like, "Hey, I'm cleared. If you guys don't clear me, I'm just gonna go where I'm already cleared."
Oh yeah,
Damn.
and you're right. Bryan Danielson did also return, right? Because that whole
Yeah,
Ego Championship,
yeah, he had
that
that like
Roman was the
belt
one
that
that
was
sent him
all
back.
like brown and shit.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't think that WWE would just be like, sure, why not? But some people say they do have quack doctors there too. Like CM Punk mentioned the Z-Pack thing, and he had that um, giant bump on the side of his
Well, that was when
underwear
Vince
that they're
McMahon
just
was
like.
there.
Very
Yeah, but
insane.
I just mean like the perception of like the doctors, like what they feel like is serious or isn't serious. So I guess there's some argument for it, but I mean, I'll take their doctor's word for it over like my own opinion. Obviously, that's just my perception of, you know, what I think is serious in terms of a neck injury. But yeah, I do think there's a level of stubbornness, you know, for both. I mean, for Edge, but currently we're talking about Bryan Danielson. So I don't know. We'll see. I do think it won't be the entire year. I don't think he'll be doing a whole reign all the way through, you know, all in Texas next year. Um,
I
I
also don't think he's gonna when he lose the belt. I don't think he's gonna retire either. Like not yet, at least.
I think he'll stay in AEW in some form of capacity. I don't know if it'll be a wrestling capacity, but you know, I would never put it past him if he, you know, even did like a, you know, guest referee or tag match, or you know, just
GM.
put someone in a move or something, or GM.
Here's
I don't
a
think.
here's a
Yeah,
take. He's gonna retire it all in Texas against Dustin Rhodes. Finish the story, baby. Woo!
I don't think so. You think
No.
they're gonna give Dustin? Look, they didn't give Jeff Jarrett, you know, an opportunity. We all thought like, damn, that promo was awesome. Maybe this is it. This is what's gonna happen. Slap Nuts is gonna win. Didn't
Maybe it's
happen.
Jeff Jarrett somehow. Who knows? All in
What if it's
Texas.
Edge too? Edge will
Last
come back eventually.
outlaw.
Edge could be the retirement match too.
Yeah, but I feel like Tony Khan also is a bit of wants to also push younger talent too. I mean, like, and if it like when it came to like Sting, he is at least paired with someone who is younger, like Darby Allin. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they'd ever do that, but It'll be interesting. I think it's worth thinking about. What is it? Grand Slam? Is that in Australia?
Grand
Or
Slim.
yeah, Grand Slam. That was like one of the
They're
big
doing a
stadium
Grand
pay-per-views,
Slam in
right?
Australia, but Grand Slam used to be in like October because
Yeah, they moved some
the
things
first
around.
Grand Slam are like they had the debut of Soraya. They've also had what else did they do at Arthur Ashe? Isn't that where they did Omega Danielson? I
I
want to
don't know.
say it is. Let's
Yeah, I
see.
don't remember.
Well, Wrestle Dream is now October, right? Or not?
Yeah,
It's been October. The next year, All In is going to be in July, and I thought there was going to be some kind of space between All In and All Out, but it's not. They're just having Forbidden Door in August, and then All Out again in September. And I also think the time window between those two are still short, so I wasn't really
it's not
certain
that bad. It's like
why.
6 weeks.
Is it?
Yeah, it's gonna be all in Texas is gonna be in July.
Yeah, but then they have Forbidden Door in August in London.
It's a man thing.
The
It's
buffer.
like bragging rights.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, so I think it's gonna be I think the latest is gonna be is Revolution, and I could be totally wrong, and I think that's what makes this specific reign interesting is that looming threat of a neck injury that feels like it could be, his last match at any time. And I think that does add some gravitas to his matches.
Samoa Joe maybe comes back. Boom.
Maybe because right now, if you put Cody Rhodes in a specific match, like I don't think he's gonna lose it anytime soon. There's no sense of like urgency or defeat because they want him to be the guy. So I don't think that he's gonna like lose it to the Bloodline in any form or fashion anytime soon. So like that, like when I see that match, I'm sure it'll be good, but I don't think anything's gonna happen with this current reign for Bryan Danielson. I think it makes it more interesting because you never know, because he is so vulnerable in terms of like what he has to lose, and he has real injuries that put that seed of doubt. Like me thinking like, oh, they do have a plan. Maybe it's like 6 months, but then something maybe happens in one of his like TV matches that might have to cut that plan short. So just adding that extra dimension for his current reign, I think will make it very interesting going forward. But yeah. So yeah, I think any final thoughts?
I think
before
it
anymore?
makes sense to put the belt on him because this next iteration, like post their WrestleMania, it makes sense to have him as champion, being somebody who's very recognizable to a lot of fans. I mean, the yes thing is like the most over fucking thing within wrestling,
Right.
amongst other things, but it's very, very over.
What?
So, right. I mean, it's on that same level essentially, right? Like,
Yeah,
even if it's
that's
like
what
a
I mean.
Yeah.
exactly. So it makes sense from just a general marketing perspective to just market AEW itself, having him as champion, and then just tacking on all that stuff, And he's that nice hybrid of what essentially a lot of AEW wrestlers are. This kind of like brawler, fighter, high flyer, technical guy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of adds that kind of realism kind of a thing. What I'm very excited about, I don't know, it's not really relevant to the initial overall thing, but the John Moxley piece, which can be potentially like this kind of a bloodliney kind of a style feud with whoever the hell he's creating within his like Fight Club versus Blackpool Combat Club should be.
Yep. That should be. I mean, that could be its own thing. Like they have the Jack Perry feud, but I feel like there will. I mean, like the John Moxley thing, like is interesting because we're not really sure where that's going, right? There's not really an inkling of like what the hell he meant by that. Like he didn't have a concussion during his promo, right? Like what do you guys felt like Moxley meant in that promo when he
That it's
came
not your
back?
company.
Yeah. What does
I
that
think
mean?
I think it's just something that can mean many things, but it's like enough of a pipe bomb to have people just wondering and thinking what the hell he's even talking about. It's probably I mean, that's been the rumor that it's some kind of a way to bring Shane in, perhaps, as like some kind of alternative boss to, the face side of AEW or something like that. So we'll see. But it could be potentially very interesting, I think.
Where do you
More
see
realism.
Moxley in all this?
He'll get a match.
Feel he's like a vessel for something else or somebody else, somehow, some way.
So you don't see him being in that title picture?
He'll get a match.
For sure he'll get a match. I think, yeah, he'll get a match. Because it'll, if I think it is what it will be. I mean, it makes sense him pitting up against the current Blackpool Combat Club with whoever his faction is, making this kind of like a bloodline-esque, a war kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Because now you got Pac within Blackpool Combat Club. They finally have an Englishman again.
Right. Someone that can live up to that name or be tied to it vaguely.
Right.
All right.